What if I told you that the most celebrated painter in Rome, the guy the Pope personally commissioned, the guy other artists were literally studying and copying in real time, was also wanted for murder? Not metaphorically, not he destroyed someone's reputation. Murder. Actual, physical, killed a man in the street and ran murder. Because that is the story of Caravaggio, and it somehow gets wilder the deeper you go. This wasn't a guy who snapped once under pressure. This was a pattern. Brawls, arrests, sword fights, more arrests, one very fatal tennis match argument, and then a decade-long fugitive era where he kept painting absolute masterpieces while literally fleeing a papal death sentence. The church kept commissioning him, collectors kept paying him, and historians now consider him one of the most influential artists who ever lived. His name was Michelangelo Merisi da Caravaggio. He lived from 1571 to 1610, and in 38 years he packed in enough chaos to make every other artist in history look like they were living in a retirement community. Caravaggio showed up in Rome in the early 1590s with no money, no connections, and a temper that could go from zero to genuinely dangerous faster than most people can finish a sentence. He was technically brilliant from almost the moment he picked up a brush, and he knew it, which did not help his personality. While every other painter in Rome was producing these soft, idealized, almost porcelain religious figures, Caravaggio was painting saints who looked like they had rent problems. Real faces, real shadows, dirty fingernails on biblical figures. His signature technique was chiaroscuro, brutal contrast between light and dark, figures emerging from near total blackness like they were being pulled out of a void. It was visceral and immediate and completely unlike anything anyone had seen before, and it made him famous almost overnight. Patrons were fighting over him. Cardinals were commissioning him. He was the hottest name in Rome. He was also spending a concerning amount of his free time in street brawls, getting arrested for carrying illegal weapons, throwing a plate of artichokes at a waiter who looked at him wrong, and on one occasion attacking a man with a sword because of a disputed restaurant bill. Truly a different breed. The talent and the violence existed in the same body at the same volume, and for a while Rome just decided that was fine because the paintings were too good to cancel him over. On the 28th of May, 1606, Caravaggio killed a man named Ranuccio Tomasoni during a street fight in Rome. The exact reason for the fight has been debated for centuries, but the most widely accepted theory is that it started over a disputed score in a tennis match. A tennis match? This man ended another man's life over a sport that people play in polo shirts on Sunday afternoons. He fled Rome immediately, injured from the fight himself, while the Pope issued a capital sentence against him, meaning anyone in the Papal States was legally permitted to kill Caravaggio on sight and collect a reward. And here is where the story goes from wild to genuinely unhinged, because instead of laying low, instead of finding a quiet corner of Europe to disappear into, Caravaggio spent the next 4 years running from city to city across the Mediterranean and painting some of the greatest works of his career the entire time. He went to Naples, then Malta, where he was awarded the prestigious title of Knight of the Order of Malta. They didn't know about the murder yet. Then they found out, stripped the title, imprisoned him, and he escaped from a fortress prison in a manner that historians still don't fully understand. Then Sicily. Then back to Naples, where unknown assailants attacked him in the street and slashed his face so badly that rumors spread across Europe that he was dead. He wasn't, but he was running out of road. In 1610, Caravaggio learned that he might be receiving a papal pardon, that after 4 years as a fugitive, he might actually be allowed to come home. He got on a boat heading north toward Rome with a small collection of paintings to offer as a gesture of goodwill. He never made it. He died on July 18th, 1610, in a small coastal town called Porto Ercole. He was 38 years old. The exact cause of death is still debated. Fever, exhaustion, infected wounds from the Naples attack, possibly all three at once. The papal pardon reportedly arrived a few days after he died. The man spent 4 years running, surviving shipwrecks and prison escapes and assassination attempts, and died 3 days from the finish line. His body was buried in an unmarked grave. His paintings went on to reshape European art for the next 2 centuries. Rembrandt studied him. Rubens copied him. Every dramatic, high-contrast, emotionally violent painting you've ever seen in a museum owes something to a violent, chaotic, deeply unwell man who died alone on a beach in 1610, believing he was almost free. He was 38 years old and he changed everything. He just didn't live long enough to know it. Here's what I keep coming back to, though. Caravaggio never stopped. Even with a death sentence over his head, even running between countries, even after getting his face cut up in Naples, he kept painting. So was the art the thing that kept him alive? Or was it the chaos that made the art what it was? Would we have Caravaggio's greatest works without the violence and the running and the fear? Let me know in the comments, subscribe, because this series is just getting started. Like the video of Caravaggio's giving you main character energy in the worst possible way. And I'll see you next week.